Anchors of Queer News Tonight, and this evening we discuss the queer headlines. National Awareness Day highlights HIV's impact on women who represent the majority of new infections globally. Disparities, stigma, and under-recognition continue in LGBTQ conversations.
Former Trump official William Wolf faces backlash after urging Christians to impose biblical morality into U.S. law, alarming LGBTQ+ communities over rights and freedoms.
Donald Trump sparks widespread outrage after celebrating Robert Mueller's death, as LGBTQ voices and lawmakers condemn the rhetoric as dangerous and deeply indecent.
San Diego families allege Halted gender-affirming care disrupted treatments, harmed transgendered youth, and violated civil rights, sparking a major legal challenge.
Florida AIDS Walk and Music Festival wrapped up this weekend with headliner Queen Latifah and record-breaking funds raised for local HIV and AIDS service organizations. All this important LGBTQ+ news and more this evening on Queer News Tonight. Welcome to Queer News Tonight. This is the world's first and only LGBTQ daily news television show broadcasting live and available on demand on your favorite streaming channels.
Analytics company vidIQ has certified the Queer News Tonight YouTube channel as the world's most popular LGBTQ streaming news show. Our queer stories have reached over 12 million views.
We are proud that Queer News Tonight has more YouTube subscribers than any other LGBTQ brand in Florida.
We thank you for watching and supporting our voice in our rainbow family. There is no other news program in the LGBTQ world like Queer News Tonight.
It is Monday, March 23rd. We are live and literally out of the closet and into the headlines. So many of your important stories we will tell this evening on Queer News Tonight.
You're watching Queer News Tonight, the world's first daily LGBTQ evening news show.
Welcome to the world's most important LGBTQ evening news show.
Hotspots magazine Happening Out television network is a nonprofit 501c3 media company in the same model as PBS and NPR, but created for the LGBTQ community. Our nonprofit mission is to support the 11 pillars of our community. We want to inform and educate the key issues of lesbian, trans, Latino, Black, healthcare, seniors, students, faith, social justice, business, and queer culture. Help us support our diverse community.
We are part of one of the largest LGBTQ nonprofit media companies in America, Hotspots Magazine and Happening Out television network.
In 2026, our magazine is celebrating 41 years of the LGBTQ experience, and Queer News Tonight is celebrating our 5th anniversary with more than 14,000 LGBTQ television stories. We present South Florida's major LGBTQ events, including Pride Fort Lauderdale, Stonewall Pride, and Pride Fete. Our magazine's events, television news, talk, and entertainment shows support our mission to educate the LGBTQ and broader community.
In 2026, more than 100 community leaders will sit at this very table and share their voice as our anchors. Together, we host this show to support the LGBTQ+ community. Let's meet this evening's anchors at Queer News Tonight. Let's welcome anchor Jason Núñez. Jason is a trailblazing leader, passionate entrepreneur, and fierce advocate for equality. He's the CEO of Go Digital Hero, a fractional COO enterprise. He's also the director of programming at the Miami-Dade LGBTQ+ and Allied Chamber of Commerce, and serves on the board of directors of Flockfest and PFLAG Fort Lauderdale. How do you find the time to also make me smile every day, Jason, with all these jobs that you got? Jason, so PFLAG hosts Let's Talk About Pride community event on March 29th. Tell us what's happening out.
All right, so PFLAG Fort Lauderdale is inviting the community to the Let's Talk About Pride event on Sunday, March 29th from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. The location will be announced once you register. This free event brings together LGBTQ+ individuals, allies, and families for meaningful conversation, shared stories, and a celebration of authenticity and connection. Attendees will hear from special guests Justin Gladney and Nicholas McCree, who will offer insights on representation, empowerment, and building inclusive spaces. Hosted by PFLAG Fort Lauderdale, The gathering aims to foster understanding and strengthen community bonds in a welcoming, supportive environment. More details at pflagbroward.org. So I am as you mentioned, the vice president of the board of directors for PFLAG Fort Lauderdale. Interesting. This segment of the community is so near and dear to me. And I think there's a special energy I have with them. I don't even have kids. I'm not even married.
I was about to say that, but I was waiting.
Yeah, so there's something about how my parents accepted me, and how that interaction went, and then to see how some of my closest friends who, when they came out, did not have the same experience I was, and I want to make sure that I'm in an organization to be able to provide that. And this session of what it means to be Pride, and it's just a great launch as we in South Florida enter this Pride Month in Miami Beach in April, and it's a great conversation starter. The location it's undetermined because of the threats in our community.
Of course.
So that's why when it says upon registration, you'll get the location, but it is in Fort Lauderdale, hence PFLAG Fort Lauderdale. And then these two speakers from SunServe, amazing couple, to be able to share their firsthand experiences and what they experience at SunServe every day. Like SunServe is one of the best organizations when it comes to support for our youth. Yeah. As well as our parents, our seniors. Like SunServe runs the whole gamut of all of our programming. So to have them as special guests for this PFLAG presentation, I'm really excited about it.
Well, and then also Justin, who is representing Be Fair Counseling, and my wife works over at Be Fair Counseling. She's their psych nurse practitioner, and mental health is important, right? From from kids to seniors and everyone in between. We've got to break this stigma about that, and Justin and his partner are so incredible at that, at breaking the stigma, making it more comfortable. PFLAG is for parents of LGBT youth, basically.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you're talking to people that aren't gay, right? And you need to talk to them in their language and also make them feel comfortable. A lot of folks never even dealt with our community until they made a kid that was part of our community.
Yeah.
And I want to add, Justin is a beautiful human being. He is so well-spoken, so soft-spoken, but powerful, and he's deeply committed to the work that needs to be done in our community. And I was on the board of directors with him over at the Dolphin Democrats.
Nice.
And I just want to say you're in no better hands than with Justin and his partner. And I just kudos to you.
And they're they're qualified. Justin's a therapist. There's no messing around. You know what I mean? PFLAG isn't just bringing you Joe Schmo from down the street to tell you about what he thinks about Pride. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
This is way different. This is a place where you are in a safe space, able to ask whatever you want. There are no bad questions or wrong questions or anything. And you're going to get the answers that you and your children so need. Every single day I turn on the television and I'm like, and I feel awful to say this. I thank God I don't have a child because of what they have to go through right now. The parent and the queer child.
Yeah. I would be remiss to not give a shout out to Dr. Luisa Montoya, the president of PFLAG Fort Lauderdale. She has taken the reins of PFLAG Fort Lauderdale and created strategic programming that the parents need to hear, parents need to experience. Her being a parent of members of our community, she knows firsthand what she needs, what she needed as a parent, and then what other parents need, but also what the kids need. She's listening to her child and say, Mom, I wish you would have known. I wish you would have done this. My friends' parents don't know this. And she gets that and she's like, all right, let me as PFLAG, let me create some programming around that. So kudos to you, bestie, Lisa. I look forward to...
and she's gorgeous.
Yes.
Sorry, I needed to add that little thing.
Inside and out.
Inside and out. Here's the reality that I have not heard about any programming that has to do with PFLAG in a couple of years. That's my reality until I met Luisa.
Yes.
Then I really started seeing how she was making it a point to put it in front of everybody. Make sure that even if you didn't have a kid, you still knew that this was available because it's word of mouth. And Kevin talks to a parent tomorrow and we'll say, hey, guess what? You know what I mean? I have a friend who's part of PFLAG. You got to go talk to them. You got to get this information. That's how it is. We've got to help each other or we are screwed.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. Provide or provide for, and that's what this community is all about.
You know what I love about at the Pride Parades is when they have the moms and dads.
The hugs.
The free hugs.
Yeah.
I love to see that every year because I didn't have that. And so it just means so much to me to see, you see people literally breaking down just getting a free hug from a stranger.
Crying.
From a parent.
Yep.
Who just is holding space for a stranger.
I don't want to
And
cry
it's
at the
powerful.
table right now, but I just
know.
want to say that
We
is
have
so
tissue.
I know, but it is so touching, you know, because that's what a lot of people
Yeah,
need.
that's all they need.
Thank goodness I grew up here in South Florida. Pretty progressive parents. They could have, everybody could have done things differently, but I have to say, by and large, my experience, coming out was so easy, so peaceful, so wonderful. I called my mom. I said, Mom, remember when I had that question is whether or not I was gay? Well, tonight I figured out I'm gay. And she said, oh, congratulations.
Well, maybe we'll have Luisa have you at a future P-Flag event.
Yes.
I love you, Luisa. Queer News Tonight looks forward to seeing you all at Let's Talk About Pride on March 29th. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by sharing them and subscribing to Queer News Tonight. Let's welcome back to the table anchor Kevin Lee. Look at that hair. He's a 3-time #1 best-selling author, a transformational speaker, and intuitive life coach. I also like to call him our spiritual guru on the show. This native Texan is on a mission to help you find your life purpose, spiritual fulfillment, and true happiness. Kevin Lee, welcome back to the show. Now, Boo, I'm so happy to see you at the
What's
table.
poppin'?
Because, I stalk you. You know
Yes.
that. I social media stalk you. And you were all over the place. It's like you were climbing Mount Everest.
Yes,
You were in
close.
Phuket. You were in Mount Fuji. You were in Kilimanjaro. You were like everywhere.
A few places might have been Phuket, but that's how we say it.
Oh,
In the South, we say Phuket.
I was about to say, fuck it. Where's
know?
that?
Brian was like, I'm not going to Colombia. I'm going back to wherever this
Right?
place is.
Phuket. We went to Bangkok. It was that was super fun. And then after that was a spiritual retreat. You know me, I do my spiritual thing.
Yes.
And truly beautiful, great nation. They were super cool with the gay thing. Like there were ladyboys everywhere. They were super cool with the whole gay thing, trans thing. It was very refreshing. Nobody had any issue with you holding hands in public.
Wow.
Super refreshing.
Any conversations with people about the U.S.?
No, because I
Thank
told them.
Not a smart
You know why?
move.
Because I told them I was Canadian.
Oh, that's
very smart.
Because I don't need any trouble on my travels.
Let me tell you.
And it happened in India.
Oh,
I did.
believe it.
Somebody outed me as an American. Oh, it's my American friend. He's from America.
Oh,
and I was
gosh.
like, no, don't say that.
Oh.
That's like
And
a
this
target
guy
on you.
kind of like chewed on me. It was interesting.
Oh my God.
So,
you learn from that and you tell people you're Canadian. I
tell
love
them
that.
I'm
And people will
Canadian.
believe you.
Well,
I'm
you're
pasty
very
white,
you're
so
very
we're
friendly,
pasty
and
white.
that's what I think of
Right,
normally
eh?
with Canadian.
Hey. You know, when I travel
Sorry.
abroad, when I'm in Europe, I tell everybody I'm from Colombia.
Yeah,
I refuse.
absolutely.
I'm like, I'm not saying that I'm
They'll
from
tell you the
US,
truth when
you
you
know.
tell them you're from somewhere else.
And then you can go in and go like, what do you think about those Americans?
Yeah,
And they will really
They'll tell you.
everything,
They'll
tell
right?
you.
It's
They
like, you
will
might
tell
not
you.
want to know, but we probably know it already ourselves.
Right?
It's good to be home. It was a nice trip. I got to go to the Himalayas. I rode a yak. One of the tour guides taught me a joke. I have a joke for you guys about
Please.
yak.
Okay.
So what did the dad yak say to his son when he dropped him off at school?
What?
Don't.
Bye, son.
You get
Get
it?
it?
Bye, son.
Bye, son.
Oh,
Bye,
I
son.
thought you were going to say like, don't yak all day.
No,
or
no, no.
okay.
Super easy. That's my dad joke.
No, I love it. That was super cute.
That was
But it was cute. I got to
was
ride a white yak, right? A buffalo, which was super cute. And it was really beautiful in the Himalayas.
Did your husband ride a yak as well?
No, because we have a lot of dogs at home, and so they have to be watched. So we have to have special people watching our home and everything when we leave. So we just went to Phuket and Bangkok for 2 weeks. Phuket, and so that was a big step for us to do that. And then for me to go 2 weeks into India, that's a bit much. So he managed the homestead.
I love that. Well, we are living vicariously through your
Thank
trips
you,
right
and
now.
it's good to be back.
And we're so happy to have you back at the table at Queer News Tonight.
Thank you.
Let's welcome back to the table anchor Brian Bender. Bri. So Bri is a lifelong South Floridian, Broward County teacher, community volunteer, and leader, and on the Education Advisory Board of Fort Lauderdale. Welcome back to the show, Bri. We've been friends for a little bit. I adore you. I also stalk you on social media.
Do you?
Like since the first day that you stopped me at some event at Hunters, and you were like, "I'm a fan. Let's take a picture."
yeah.
And we took this great picture, and I like posted it everywhere because
Aw.
honestly, because you made me look look so cute, and you were looking so cute.
But
too
you
that
look
day.
adorable yourself. You don't need me to be your prop because you are just a gorgeous woman. And I just want to say thank you so much for having me. This is going to be the first time that I'm here on the panel with the most beautiful bunch. And I'm so sorry to all the other people that I've been on the panel with, but I do have to say these people are very good looking and Faye leads the way. So
Wow.
thank you.
Okay. He probably tells them that.
I
also.
don't.
I need to look back at those queer news tonight.
You should.
Go.
And you'll see that I'm telling the truth because
Go.
this is a really great group of people. So.
Well, we adore you, Brian. Thank you
you.
for all your advocacy. We didn't mention that in his intro because, honestly, Brian, if someone needs volunteers and Brian is in the area, he
I'll
will
do it.
leap. He will find a shirt. He will change in the car and be there, right there, volunteering.
I'll
for a
do what
cause.
I gotta do.
That's how he rolls, and we appreciate that so much from you, Brian.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Faye.
you for being back at the table at Queer
Thank
News
you.
Tonight.
And of course, let's welcome tonight's lead anchor, Faywhat. She is a legendary events host, television and radio personality, and the host of Hotspots Happening Out, the Faywhat Show. Faye, Drag Me to Pride takes over Miami Beach on April 10th. Tell me what's happening out.
I'm so excited for this. I remember seeing this flyer and just going, no way are all these queens on one flyer. I can't be more excited. So it's time to get ready for a dazzling double dose of Pride energy as Drag Me to Pride, presented by Gilead Sciences, lights up Loomis Park on April 10th, hosted by Miami Beach Pride. This 21 and over open air spectacle kicks off at 8 p.m., offering food and beverages on site. The star-studded lineup features drag icons Trinity the Tuck, Jimbo the Drag Clown, Ginger Minge, alongside rising stars like Lana Geray and Can You Please Her. we got some words for Can You Please Her, right? But we love her anyway. And the night is hosted by local favorite, the incredible, the iconic Tiffany Fantasia. Expect high energy performances, bold fashion, and unforgettable moments under the Miami sky. Secure your tickets now at MiamiBeachPride.com. I couldn't be happier. Like prides are more important now than ever. And Miami Beach Pride is right around the corner and they're doing it big. They have like 10 days full of events from beginning to end, ending with Sunday's parade and festival all day long right there in Loomis Park on Miami Beach. The queens, God, it's like, how did they get these amazing queens to all be on one stage,
Drag is my Friday night date night thing. RuPaul, every Friday night, you won't be able to get me. I won't pick up my phone because we're always like pizza on the couch and we're doing some RuPaul. And they've got a great lineup. And so I even told my husband today, I'm like, you know what, this news piece, we need to plan. You need to check your schedule because I want to go to this.
And it's early enough.
Yeah, it's doable.
You know what I mean, Bri?
It sounds very exciting. It's like the 12 days of Christmas, but really it's the 10 days of drag on Miami Beach, or the 10 days of Pride on Miami Beach. It's amazing. And I just want to say, we do such amazing things in this community, from Fort Lauderdale all the way down to Miami to Key West.
Yep.
Let's just keep it up and let's keep it going because we really want to show Tallahassee that we're here, we're queer, and we ain't going anywhere.
Exactly. We get pushed against a corner and we're just going to do it more fabulous and make it longer and put more events in there. That's what we're going to do, right, Jason? Because you're a part of a bunch of the events too.
I am. So it's like 10 days of Pride. It's an opportunity for everybody to have something for every segment of our community.
Yes.
They have the Pets Day, they have the Family Day, they have arts, they have culture on Tuesday, April 7th. The Miami-Dade LGBT Chamber is having a Pride Mega Mixer where they're bringing back Score nightclub.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
What?
Score.
From the
Score.
I'm not old enough to know about Score.
Me either.
Excuse me, honey, but you are, bitch. So
Those are some fighting words.
Okay. And we're bringing back Score night. We're gonna bring back pictures and videos from the times. We're gonna recreate the space on Lincoln Drive to create that experience that our community was super wholesome at the time. Everyone that I've mentioned that we're gonna do a Score inspired nightclub, they immediately go into stories. Oh, I remember when. It felt like me with my other military friends, be like, oh yeah, remember when? And it was like they go back to all those times. So one of the cool things that I have the privilege of doing as the director of programming is I get to offer our viewers a special exclusive promo code, QNT, at checkout. You get $10 off of your ticket. So that would technically be $15 for members, $20 for non-members. Come experience it, come share in the business world, experience another realm of our community during Pride.
Yeah.
And then ended up with drag queens at the end of the week.
I mean, how beautiful is that? Listen, I lived on South Beach, late 90s, early 2000s, right? That's when SCORE was, SCORE on Lincoln Road. And it was 2002, 2003, 2004. I left to San Francisco 2006. It was still there on Lincoln Road. And Lincoln Road was a vibrant, beautiful walkway where all the gays would go and have Sunday fun day and then see a drag show at SCORE and then be too drunk and not remember what you did. But it was fun times, you know? It's sad to see Lincoln Road go through all these changes. And it's just that we've all been through these changes ourselves. And we see neighborhoods going through changes and gentrification is a real thing. And, you know, the things that happened at Miami Beach with spring break a couple of years back affected everybody. So the fact to see them come back together and go, again, like we said, you're going to put us against the wall. We're just going to make this more fabulous, right? We're going to bring back the days. Oh, you're older. You feel like you're out of touch. You're not. We're going to remind you of how SCORE was in the 90s and you're going to enjoy every moment of it.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's what it's all about because Pride is for everyone. Pride is for my dog. Pride is for kids. Pride is for our parents. Like, Pride is for everyone.
Everyone. And to bring back that nostalgia of SCORE, just literally watching the videos. And when you get to the mixer, you'll see them. We're going to have videos projected. It was just a different kind of vibe at SCORE. But,
and with the $10 discount, you know, with the rising gas prices we have for us Broward folks, you know, that $10 comes in handy. So, you know, what you're paying for in gas, you're actually getting a little discount when you enter. So I think that's really wonderful. And use that QR, what is it, QNT? QNT. So
yeah. And more importantly, that does, you know, that it benefits Miami Beach Pride, which, again, Queer News Tonight looks forward to seeing you at Drag Me to Pride on April 10th.
I'm Faywhat, and let's queer up health. Women Lead HIV Fight as Awareness Day highlights global impact, inequities, and call for equity. March 10th marked National Women and Girls HIV/AIDS Awareness Day, spotlighting a reality often overlooked in the U.S. LGBTQ conversation. The fact that HIV deeply impacts women worldwide, while HIV is often associated with gay and bisexual men in the U.S., global data tells a broader story. Women living with HIV have played a significant role in the resistance efforts against Florida ADAP, AIDS Drug Assistance Program, funding restrictions. Yet cisgender white men are the ones whose leadership is lifted up, and issues most relevant to women across the gender spectrum have largely been ignored. According to UNAIDS, of nearly 41 million people living with HIV, 53% are women and girls. In 2024 alone, women and girls accounted for 45% of new diagnoses. Rates among transgender women remain especially alarming at 66 times higher than the general adult population. Experts point to overlapping challenges, including violence, poverty, racism, and limited access to prevention and care, driving these disparities. First launched in 2005, the Awareness Day aligns with International Women's Day and Women's History Month. This year, the Well Project and Positive Women's Network USA are leading efforts under the theme Sisterhood, Hope, and Equity. You can contribute to their efforts by spreading awareness and acceptance. Yes, you can. You know, we need to change the face of HIV in America because globally, HIV is not just a gay man's story. Over half of people living with HIV are women and girls, as we said in the story. And the loudest voices aren't always the most affected. And maybe it's time we start funding and listening to the women who've been doing this work the whole time instead of just taking it for face value from older white men. You know, I mean, most people don't know that women can take PrEP. Most people don't know that, okay? And sadly, most women don't know that.
Most people don't even know what PrEP is for. I see it every day in the hospital. They have no clue. So my coworkers will say, be careful, they're high five, in other words, HIV. And I'll say, no, they're not. They're taking PrEP. That means that they're not HIV positive.
Exactly.
So it was really heartbreaking to see that number, that 66 times higher trans women are being affected by HIV, but it also, it rings true also with attacks against the trans women. You know, whether they're Black, Latino, they're far more, I think it's 4 or 5 times higher than a regular cisgender, non-Latino, non-Black trans woman. So there's a lot of disparities in the trans community against them. And just one more time, we just have to keep standing up. We have to keep speaking up about it because the more times we're quiet, the more times they win.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, Black and brown folks, you know, we've always been very weary of healthcare. for a lot of different reasons, right? You know, and when it comes
Historic
to
reasons,
but and historic reasons that, I mean, would take up the whole show. You know, if we start saying that, I mean, how can we even begin to start trusting healthcare with some of the stuff that have happened in history, right? But here we are at a crossroad where this is life-saving stuff. You know what I mean? And education is key. That's why all these organizations like SunServe, Pride Lines, I can go on and on of the organizations around us that are always screaming, get tested, know your status. You know, Mayfair Medical is in front of all the pool parties. Hey, you want to get into the pool party? Get tested real quick, right? And that's how we get that across, right? I can't imagine living in the 80s and being with all my gay boys and then next week coming back to this table and not seeing two of you and wondering what happened. I can't even imagine that. But we're taking so many steps back that could totally come back and be our reality again, which is why education is so important.
You know, the Trump administration currently is taking away money from sub-Saharan Africa, and that's where most of these women infections are actually occurring, you know, these new infections of women and girls. I was shocked when I saw that 53% of new HIV cases on the planet Earth are women and girls. You know, that means that it is not simply a gay disease. It is not simply a male disease. It is something that everybody can contract, and know your status. And thank goodness in our community that we have partners, health partners that are able to offer free or low-cost services in order for people to get on PrEP, get on post-exposure prophylaxis, get on treatment if they need treatment. You know, it is a very livable disease. If you get yourself tested, get yourself treated, and know your status.
And get on the right meds,
right.
You know?
Yeah,
I mean, it's scary times in Miami. Miami's #1 in the country for new diagnoses, okay? And Black and brown women are #1, okay? Now, we're also talking about a city where many Black and brown folks are afraid and walking around with paperwork that they don't need or they might need because ICE can pick them up at any time. So for those reasons, they also don't want to go get tested. And they also don't want to go to the hospital because they're afraid that the hospital is also going to turn them in.
And what about those people that are newly diagnosed that are on a regimen of medication but get picked up by ICE and then they're in detention indefinitely, maybe get sent to a third country, get sent back to their home country, are unable to access the care that they need while they're in detention? I mean, there are so many moral, ethical, spiritual dimensions to what is going on that I think it's really important that we highlight the fact that it's not simply just a gay male, white male issue anymore. If it ever was really, it never was. But, you know, the fact that, you know, cisgendered white men, such as myself, think that, you know, that women aren't affected by this or weren't affected by this until I learned about it it's really jarring. And I think that the more that we educate ourselves, the better that we're going to be as a community and as a world community, not just the gays, not just the queer people, not just transgendered people, everybody can be affected by it. And we all probably know people that are HIV positive.
Not probably.
That we don't even know that they are, and perhaps they don't know that they are either. 100%. So get yourself tested, and it'll make a world of difference for you.
100%. And a big shout out going out to AHF. Okay, for being the incredible entity that you are.
Thank you.
When ADAP happened, when people were about to lose their meds, people were freaking out for obvious reasons, right? And AHF was like, hold on. Let's get a forum together. Let's answer questions. Let's drop some lawsuits on these mothers. We're not taking this sitting down. All of a sudden, they came back with some money for us, right? You know, and that's how we do it.
Wow. I'm Jason Núñez, and let's queer up politics. Outrage grows after ex-Trump official says Christians should impose beliefs across America. A former Trump administration official is drawing backlash after openly stating that Christian values should be enforced across the United States. William Wolf, who served in both the Defense and State Departments, made the remarks during a speech at a church in West Virginia. Now leading the Center for Baptist Leadership, Wolf told the audience that Christians should not blink when directing how others live. Here's a clip from watchdog group Right Wing Watch.
We should not blink, we should not hesitate to tell people, not because we are so wise, not because we made the rules of the world, we didn't. We humbly submit to how God made the rules of the world, and we say this is how we should order our lives together. And frankly, yes, we are going to impose it upon you. If you don't like it, I'm sorry, but this is good and right and just if it lines up with God's standards. And I am going to enforce my morality on you in as much as our morality is God's morality. And you should always check yourselves. Again, I'm not trying to puff you up. Check yourself. Do I believe what God believes? Am I defending what God says is good? And if it is, then you should have the courage to say, this is how we're going to run our town. This is how we're going to run our county. This is how we're going to run our state. And this is how we should run the United States of America, by legislating the morality that we can find in the Bible.
The remarks are now circulating widely online, raising concerns, especially within the LGBTQ plus community, about religious overreach into public policy. So there's no secret that politics have tried to make their way into everything. I served 23 years in the military as a religious affairs airman.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you. My job was to make sure that all of our troops, wherever they were at, had that First Amendment right to practice or not practice their faith, their religion, you know, whether it was getting a proper space for earth-based faiths, making sure that we had a crucifix for the Catholics, making sure we had a cross without the corpse for Protestants, making sure we had whatever we needed for our Jewish personnel and Muslim personnel. And that freedom of religion, you know, for 23 years, our motto for the chaplain corps was, you know, we're visible reminders of the holy. People used to see us, like, literally, I used to have people not want to hang out with me because they thought that I was, like, super religious.
Holier than that.
But that's a freedom that we get to choose, that they had the freedom to choose or not to choose. And this story about imposing, like, that is contrary to our Constitution in terms of forcing religion upon anybody, and it's extremely disappointing.
Well, coming myself as a 8th grade U.S. history teacher, I can tell you a thing or two about the Constitution. You know, a lot of these religious fundamentalists want to say that we are a Christian nation, and it is true that there were a lot of Christian people that were here in the country when it was founded in 1776, but they made especially certain to say that you had the right to either be religious or not be religious, and the government would not infringe on that. What this, I was going to say gentleman, but what this religious wingnut was actually saying in his speech in West Virginia was actually that he doesn't believe in the separation of church and state, that he believes that he can practice Christian Sharia law. You know, everybody wants to make Muslim people, you know, the boogeyman, when really the boogeyman is already here. And the boogeyman is the fact that you are going to start having people, if they are left unchecked, you're going to start having people overreaching. You're going to have people telling you what is correct, what is not. When he said that, you know, we're going to dictate, I'm paraphrasing here, but I got the gist of it. This is not acceptable in our town. We don't do those sorts of things here. What does that mean? You're going to run people out of town because you think that they're gender nonconforming? You're going to run people out of town because they have a gay family member? You're going to shun people? It's a very slippery slope when you start proselytizing in the public space to people who do not want to be proselytized to. And it's actually, I don't believe that speech is violence. Some people do, and I understand that argument. Even though his speech is not violence, it incites violence, because how are you...
Gives permission.
Because how are you going to enforce that? What exactly does that mean? That means you're going to reach for your Second Amendment, which is your right to bear arms. And I don't condone any violence. I want to make that 100% personally clear. I'm all for nonviolence, but I don't think that wingnut is.
Well, think about it. The word enforce has force in it. And that's what I feel that they're going to do.
Absolutely.
You know? So separation of church and state isn't a suggestion. It literally is how this country was supposed to work. Okay? You can live by your religion, absolutely. But once you start saying you're going to impose it on everyone, all right? That's not faith. That's control. And Americans don't do well when you try to control them in this way.
Absolutely. And you know, there's a doctrine that says you have all the freedom you want until it starts butting up and infringing on other people's freedoms. So go be free, but don't run through a red light and say, that's my freedom. No, there's what's called a social contract. You live in a society, you give up certain rights so that you're protected by other rights in the society. And one of the things that you give up is forcefully proselytizing to other people and enforcing your religion on them, so that way you can enjoy your religion privately with your community. We do have First Amendment, freedom of assembly, freedom of religion, freedom of the press, freedom of speech. Those are all very clearly protected. What he's talking about, though, is some kind of Mutant Ninja Turtle version of what he believes is the right way to live in the United States. And I got news for you, sir. There is no one right way to live in the United States. As long as you're not infringing on somebody else, go do your thing. But when you start advocating, enforcing, and I like what you said about force being in there, when you start using words like force against other people because you believe that your sky god tells you that it's okay. Don't get me wrong. I'm a person that has faith. I'm a person that I believe is very spiritual. But I would never think that I know the will of God so well that I'm going to tell you that what I believe you should believe as well. I think whatever you believe is beautiful for you because you've come to an understanding.
Yeah.
And if that brings you peace, that's great. But when it starts infringing on other people's religious liberty, that's where I have a problem. So West Virginia, I should say do better, but I don't know that you can. And I'm sorry for the people that are by happenstance living there. So try to get out as soon as you can.
Try to get out.
I'm Kevin Lee, and let's queer up politics. Trump sparks outrage over Mueller death post as Bessent defends remarks on national TV. Outrage is growing after Donald Trump posted a shocking message following the death of former FBI Director Robert Mueller. Writing on Truth Social, Trump said, quote, "Robert Mueller just died. Good. I'm glad he's dead. He can no longer hurt innocent people." End quote. The reaction was immediate and widespread. Sarah McBride, the first out trans member of Congress, responded, quote, "No matter your political affiliation, decency matters. To celebrate the death of a veteran and a public servant is unconscionable for anyone, let alone a sitting president." End quote. New York Congressman Dan Goldman said, quote, "We mourn the passing of Robert Mueller, a true public servant, yet the President of the United States disgustingly celebrates Mueller's death simply because he exposed Trump's efforts to steal the 2016 election." End quote. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer accused Trump of attempting to distract from ongoing political issues. Media figures and former officials also raised concerns about precedent and rhetoric. Meanwhile, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent defended Trump during an appearance on Meet the Press, invoking the FBI search of Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate. He said, quote, "I think that given what has been done to President Trump and his family, it is impossible for either of us to understand what he has been through. I think that we should all have a little empathy for what has been done to him and his family," end quote. Quite interesting. I don't have any sympathy for this man. I think it's pretty decency matters, and there's no decency in this this gentleman. And I think also that we're not going to expect anything different. I mean, a duck is a duck. And also what I want to say is that these are really media distractions, in my opinion. And they want to tell you to look over here, and they want to create a firestorm or a tornado, and they want to get you to conceptualize something that literally keeps you occupied from what's really going on. Mm-hmm, so I always see these kinds of bizarre things happening as distractions.
Well, I just wanted to add this. You know, Robert Mueller was a decent man, and I want to say that, you know, as we were talking about this before, and as you were talking about this now, Robert Mueller was such a decent man and such an institutionalist, and he believed so deeply in the Constitution and the constitutional order that he did not come out and make a public announcement about his findings. He handed over the investigation to Bill Barr, and Bill Barr went on, I think it might have been Leslie Stahl who interviewed him. I'm not 100% sure. I don't get paid enough to do all the fact checking. But it was one of the big people that interviewed him. And Bill Barr said, "Oh, nothing to see here, nothing to see here." And Robert Mueller was so incensed, and he was so mortified and horrified, and all the fides, whatever word you can end in fide, he was that because that is not what he said in his report. He found Russian interference in the election. He found so many inconsistencies in the investigation, and he believed that Bill Barr was going to do the right thing and actually represent what was in the report accurately. And I believe that that is such for him to pass away while Trump is still in office, still unaccountable for the crimes that he committed, I think that he leaves a wonderful legacy of being a statesman and a scholar and all the good things that our country produces. But really, it is so sad that he could not bring about justice, you know, and for Trump to say he's dead good, all the things I've been through, you know what? I don't wish harm on absolutely anyone, not Trump, not his family, not anybody. But I have to say, that is one of the most classless things and most ignorant things you could say about a true American patriot.
Well,
like
and
Robert
we know that Trump is not decent, and he doesn't. You know what I mean? Nobody wants to be like our president. We don't strive to be, or others don't strive to be like him. All right? Do we have to talk about Charlie Crist? I mean, remember when he passed away, and it was like, you know, let's have a Charlie Day, and anybody who says anything negative about him is not a patriot, un-American, etc. We should have a Robert Mueller Day. Okay. We really should, because he was a veteran. He had the cojones to come and bring this, you know, he led the inquiry on Trump. Nobody else has had the guts to do so, knowing what that would mean on the tail end, okay? Dealing with Parkinson's for the last 5 years and having to deal with the idiot that is in office, my God, there's another Medal of Honor he should have been receiving during that time.
Absolutely. And he kept his head down. He didn't disclose anything. There were hardly any.
He could have.
I think there were no leaks from his investigation, no leaks at all, except there were, what was his name? I forget his name, but he was texting his girlfriend, I believe, who worked for the office, who was promptly fired. Nothing from Robert Mueller. He was the utmost professional. He was just a true statesman, and I would be so proud if I were friends or family with a man like him, because he is what American honor looks like. And
100%.
we salute you wherever you are. If there's
okay, Brian, bring it back.
If there's a way, I hope that there's all right. Well,
listen,
let's
our thoughts and prayers definitely to his family, who are going through heartbreaking time right now, losing this incredible patriarch. And I said, I don't know why I said Charlie Christ before. I meant Charlie Kirk when I was thinking about his passing. Excuse me.
I'm Brian Bender, and let's queer up trans rights. Families sue Socal Hospital over halted gender-affirming care for trans youth patients. 4 San Diego area families have filed a class action lawsuit alleging that Rady Children's Health violated the civil rights of their transgendered children by discontinuing gender-affirming care. The complaint, filed on Thursday in San Diego County Superior Court, claims the decision harmed nearly 1,900 patients through canceled appointments, disrupted hormone treatments, and emotional distress. The lawsuit argues the move violates state law by denying care based on gender identity. Speaking to the advocate, Amy Whelan of the National Center for LGBTQ+ Rights said the case focuses on whether transgendered patients were unfairly targeted. She said that hospitals cannot legally decline to treat patients because of who they are, calling the decision unconscionable. The hospital system cited, quote, recent federal actions, end quote, when it ended care, as the pressure tied to policies under Donald Trump have led some hospitals to reconsider services linked to federal funding. The Trump administration has characterized transgendered health procedures as, quote, chemical and surgical mutilation, end quote, and directed federal agencies to defund any supportive programs. The lawsuit comes alongside separate legal action filed in January by California Attorney General Rob Bonta over the same issue. Well, you know, I'm going to keep it short and pithy. Terrible. What does anybody else have to say?
I'll tell you what, this trans care youth issue is no different than the hetero care issue about parents, especially parents that want to make their children taller. So they are literally, I hate to say it, but they're literally mutilating their children.
They're breaking the legs, right?
They break the growth plates in the legs, in the lower legs, to make them, and they literally inject them with hormones. because they have to have growth hormones. They also attach devices that literally every day must be turned, which is horribly painful for the kids, for the legs to be lengthened, and this takes months to happen. This is literally no different than trans care because it is a benevolent form of care for a child. They're trying to make the child bigger, and it's no different than a parent trying to help their trans child become the person they were meant to be. And they're using the same procedure, really the same type of procedures, chemicals and surgical, to benefit a person. And I just don't see why people aren't talking about those, but it's convenient, it's hidden under the rug. And that's why I'm always talking about it, because there are other situations in the world that people need to be aware of. It's not just trans people trying to mutilate kids.
Well, what people need to know is also that trans kids are not getting gender surgeries.
Yeah, it's not
okay.
mutilation.
They're not. No, but they're not having them.
Yeah.
This doesn't happen to children. There's gender-affirming care. That's one thing. There's therapy. Yes. There's puberty blockers. There's stuff like that. Okay. There is no mutilation happening. They're not doing surgery to a 10-year-old who says, I'm a girl. Yeah. It doesn't work that way. And that's what these people think it is. People think that we're going into schools and like injecting these kids with stuff, and that's not what's happening.
Good point.
You know, if a hospital can decide who deserves care based on politics, then healthcare is no longer healthcare. All right? It literally is ideology. Doctors are supposed to follow medicine, not follow elections. And that's just crazy how this all comes together, kind of like our church and state, story before. They want to put church into everything.
Yep. Exactly. No, exactly. It's just quite alarming. And, these families that have sued the hospitals, I really salute them. You're rising up. I always tell my students, look, stand up, speak up, and shine. You got to get out there and you got to speak your truth and really just stand in it and walk in it and be the example. Give permission by sharing your stories, and let other people know what's really going on in your community. So I really salute them for going against Socal hospital system in California. Because if they hadn't done it, once again, the issue would have just disappeared into the headlines.
Yeah, and that's a big healthcare system. It's a big hospital system
huge,
out there.
Huge.
Wow. I'm Faywhat, and let's queer up South Florida and Florida. A unity for the ages. Queen Latifah reigns over record-breaking Florida AIDS Walk. The annual Florida AIDS Walk and Music Festival went down over the weekend, but this was unlike any we've had since the pandemic. It was the biggest crowd and the biggest total, nearly $3 million. And if that wasn't enough, Queen Latifah rocked the beach. Queer News Tonight's special correspondent, John Hayden, was there and filed this report.
Hey everybody, John Hayden down on Fort Lauderdale Beach for the 2026 AIDS Walk and Music Festival. And while everybody's out walking and having fun, when they get back, they will all bow down to the Queen. Queen Latifah in the house on the beach, headlining the AIDS Walk and Music Festival. Hundreds packing Fort Lauderdale Beach for the big event, and she came to play. The icon bringing all the hits and bringing the fans on stage, creating an impromptu dance party. As the DJ warmed up the crowd, I auditioned to be next year's headliner. Oh baby, you got what I need. Come on, but you say he's just a friend. Hey guys, call me. Before the show, hundreds walked the 5K route, raising nearly $3 million for local nonprofit organizations. Their efforts will be matched nearly dollar for dollar by AHF. Top fundraising team this year? SunServe. Top fundraiser? SunServe leader, Tony Lima. Tony, you're the top fundraiser. Again, how do you do it? No, you're
working really hard to make sure that we have amazing partners that understand our mission as SunServe, what Florida AIDS Walk does, how it benefits our community, and really just the beautiful support of everyone here today.
Local icon Faywhat led a team for the first time this year, and she did it in style. You didn't wear high heels, but you still wore fab footwear.
Are you really going to look at my bedazzled shoes?
I am going to look at your bedazzled shoes.
Well, and the funniest thing is that, like, so my ally, my best friend, Michelle, right, she's an incredible ally. So she stayed over with me to get me here on time. That's how things roll. And so when I'm getting my sneakers out, she goes, no, they're not. And she goes, well, you know what? That's so on brand. I get it, you know?
She used those shoes to get a spot in that dance party. And while Queen Latifah was here to party, she also had a message.
Nobody is invincible from this. Nobody can evade this. So we gotta tighten up. We gotta lock arms, you know, when it comes to this, to educate each other.
After the walk, people hit up the rooftop pool at the Easton for a Flockfest splash pool party. Sunscreen and Speedos were everywhere as people practiced for the July flotilla.
And after an early morning and a long walk, what better way to end the day than at the rooftop pool at the Easton? In Fort Lauderdale, I'm John Hayden.
Oh, John Hayden, you did such a great job, Bobby. So you heard only part of Queen Latifah's very personal story. Her entire speech is on Greater Wilton Manors. You can find that on YouTube and also on Facebook, okay? Nearly $3 million raised. I mean, that's just insanity, right? And like, there's something so powerful about being part of the AIDS Walk. Yeah. This was the first year that Hotspots Happening Out was a beneficiary. So it meant something extra for me personally. It was the first time I had my own team. So thank you so much to all the folks who joined the Faywhat team. It meant so much to me that you woke up mad early to be there with me and you walked that 5K. I'm sorry that I didn't know that 5K was so long, right? You know, to see them like finish this walk and feel so challenged, and also like there's so much appreciation going. I loved being a part of the part of the AIDS Walk this year, just to see so many people out. Like John Hayden said, I've been going since pandemic and 20 years before. So 20 years ago, I used to host the Florida AIDS Walk. So it's so interesting for it to be full circle as being part of the beneficiaries this year. So many people, so much wonderful energy. I told you folks last week and the week before and the week before that I was going to bum rush the stage, right? That one way or another, I was getting to my beautiful New Jersey lesbian queen, Latifah, right? And that's as close as I got. Before her very good handlers push my Latina ass down, right? You can tell, like, she was pulling people up on the stage and you can tell the security was kind of like, what is she doing? Oh no. Here we go.
That's when you made the run?
You know what I mean? That's when I ran like, come on, queen, come on. Incredible event. AHF, you did it again.
They always do.
You folks are just ridiculous. You know, this is $3 million when it's so needed. So needed.
I mean, huge shout out to two of AHF's front people. Haroon Bahi in Fort Lauderdale.
Beautiful.
And Shane Yonemitsu in Miami.
Bam Bam.
Bam Bam.
Thank you, Bam
like,
Bam. We love you.
These two legends in our community, they are everywhere. Literally drive through Wilton Drive and you see Haroon on like the ginormous window of Out of the Closet.
And they're great to look at too.
They're
just saying.
They are
they're
both
friends. So
extremely very inviting to the table. Like, you want to go visit AHF to visit them and talk to them. Shane Yonemitsu is also up for a Legends Award with the Miami Chamber.
I voted for him.
For Miami. So there's still time. Voting ends on Friday, March 27th. Deserved. I mean, both of them, Haroon and Shane, are, and Aaron, regional with AHF. Thank you. $300 million. $3 million.
Insane.
Like,
and I'm loving all those videos Haroon is putting out now. He has like kind of like a podcast set up and he's interviewing people and he's really just getting the word out about what needs to happen in our community. And I think it's wonderful. Thank you so much, Haroon.
Right, and what they're doing. And they're always doing something. And like you said, he is everywhere, you know? And to see all the nonprofits that we know and love all together, right? Like, you know, folks came from Pride Lines in Miami. They were like, all right, we're getting up there. We're making it happen. Safe School South Florida. Okay, we're heading up there too, you know? And then our local ones, right? Trans Inclusive, oh my God, like, you know, Save, Equality Florida, everybody was, Sunserve, I know, Tony, don't get mad at me if I don't mention you, right? Like, you know, everyone was there and everyone was there with a purpose and they knew what it was. And then by 2 p.m., everybody was out, home.
Yeah, I mean, it was, and they were all there for intention. Like, everybody that was there wanted to be there. It wasn't like, there was no one there, at least the folks that I saw, that was like, ugh, I'm dragged out to a 5K. Like, people wanted to be there, the energy, our community. Yeah. I also love how AHF partners with almost every single one of them. You know, the way AHF is with PFLAG, Equality Florida, Sunserve. They did a collab with House of Trouble. the two guys out of Miami, to do that prep educational campaign. So I'm not surprised that AHF, Florida AIDS Walk, was able to raise this much money because they're in the community. And they really do represent all of us.
Well, and that's our community. If you looked around and you saw all those people, that's our community. Black, brown, all kinds of sizes, shapes, every letter of the acronym, plus our allies, everyone was represented in that sea of people. And that was beautiful. Thank you, John Hayden, for your reporting. That was outstanding. Make sure that you follow him on all social media. He is covering everything that has to do with Wilton Manors and the outskirts as well. LGBTQ 1 Minute News. Let's queer up gay culture. Hotspots magazine spotlights Miami Beach Pride's infinite celebration. Our Hotspots Happening Out LGBTQ lifestyle magazine Hotspots is back with a feature on Miami Beach Pride's 18th year themed Pride is Infinite. From April 2nd through the 12th, over 170,000 attendees will celebrate across the city, culminating in a vibrant festival and parade weekend. Chairman Bruce Horwich said, quote, "Our mission remains clear: to create an inclusive, accessible platform where every identity is honored and every voice is heard," end quote. With drag stars, DJs, and community events, Pride promises unforgettable energy and unity. This feature story and many more are included in your free copy of the upcoming issue of Hotspots magazine on stands this Thursday, March 26th. Listen, I'm excited for Pride. I'm happy that they're here. And, everything that you need to know is literally in your next issue of Hotspots magazine, right? So just pick it up and pick one of the many parties, right? I love that. This is one of the events where it's 10 days. So you have more than one event to go to. But Miami Beach Pride as a whole is one of the few events that my Wilton boys go down to.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Scott Holland. Yes, I'm talking to you, sir. This is one of the very few reasons he goes down to Miami, and he makes it a point, gets a hotel and everything. Let's be safe about it. You know what I mean? Let's take the dog with us. Let's make a weekend out of it, But the Bright Line works too, The Bright Line takes you right down there to downtown. Seriously, and then a free Uber down to the beach,
Nice.
So it's super easy. Miami Beach Pride is bigger and better than ever. During the times when budget cuts are left and right, they're standing strong, saying, we're giving you more programs so you can be your true authentic self no matter what.
Love it.
And get that Hotspots magazine on Thursday, March 26th. There is something for every part of our community. LGBTQ 1 Minute News. Let's queer up entertainment. Kevin Spacey settles assault claims, avoids London trial as accusers reach agreement out of court. Actor Kevin Spacey has reached an out-of-court settlement with 3 men who accused him of sexual assault. This has helped him avoid a civil trial scheduled at London's High Court. The claims relate to alleged incidents between 2000 and 2013 during his tenure at Old Vic Theatre. As part of the agreement, the cases have been formally stayed. 2 claimants had testified in his 2023 criminal trial where he was acquitted of 9 charges. A third accuser, Rory Cannon, had also alleged misconduct. Settlement terms remain undisclosed. I have no idea why we're just hearing about this. It's 2026, and this has been going on for years.
Yep.
And this should be in the news more, but to settle it out of court is kind of a cop-out. I understand why they did it. It's cheaper that way. But, he really should be facing his accusers.
Shady, Mr. Spacey.
Listen, he's another white guy getting away with everything that he's doing.
Sure is.
Okay, that's basically what it is. It was the guy from Rent was one of the folks, right, in the assault case. And mind you, he was young back then. Now he's old. That's how long this has been going.
Yeah, 2013.
He made one good movie. That's all I'm going to say.
Suspects.
That one too. Okay, maybe 2. There was one where he was from another planet, or he was in a mental hospital, but he might have been from another planet. Or
Kaiser Soze was
I'm not 100% sure the name of it, but it was good. And then I heard he was a perverted guy, and then.
But you see what happens when you have to be in the closet? You don't have to be in the closet. You can be who you are. You've got enough money to tell everybody, F you, I'm gay. And that's that.
Absolutely.
And he was respected as an actor by that time.
Sure was.
Come on, why go and push your force on someone?
LGBTQ 1 Minute News. Let's queer up the USA View. Uber reviews incident after Texas teen says driver canceled ride over alleged anti-gay bias. Ride-hailing company Uber is facing renewed scrutiny after a Hispanic teen living in Texas alleged he was removed from a ride due to perceived sexual orientation. The TikToker at Alex Diaries Live posted a viral video where the driver says, "I'm going to call the police right now or leave," end quote. After exiting the cab, the teen said, quote, "As soon as I said, hello, good morning, with a little fucking gay in my voice, that's when he said, oh, you've got to leave my car," end quote. The video has over 3.4 million views and around 2,500 comments, including one from the official Uber TikTok account saying the company does not tolerate discrimination and is actively reviewing this incident. However, in a follow-up, the teen claimed, quote, "Uber has done nothing. Every time I try to report him, they close the chat," end quote. Well, I know that's true because I've actually reported some drivers and they do conveniently close your chat and you get no recourse. And from my perspective, this is just math and money. He's just another one of the many users of the app, and they're not really. They probably don't care about any group because it's really about the money for them.
I mean, and they're making a shit ton of money. You know what I mean?
So much
Baby boy, start using Lyft. Start using Lyft.
Call a Weibo. Call a Weibo taxi.
Right? Call Weibo. I mean, I personally am a little surprised just because like Uber just rolled out their women's only policy, which is so helpful for women that you are able to order just a woman. If you're a non-binary, if you're a drag queen, if you're a trans person and you feel safer being driven around by a woman, then you ask for that. And that's an option on your Uber app now.
I would feel safer that way myself.
You know, I'm sorry for not including. Yes, you could. Okay. Anybody could. And that's a wonderful thing. Yeah. So in one hand, you're giving us this, but in the other hand, you're not listening to your customers that are going through certain discrimination, right? They can't force the drivers to do everything. And drivers work for all the companies. I've never met one Lyft driver that doesn't work for Uber also.
Sure.
If they wanted to solve it, they would. They haven't. There's your answer.
LGBTQ 1 Minute News. Let's queer up entertainment. Conservative actor Chuck Norris dies at 86. Actor and martial artist Chuck Norris, best known for Walker, Texas Ranger, has died at 86. His family confirmed his passing in a March 20th Instagram statement. Norris was a staunch conservative and a Republican who supported Donald Trump in 2016. Norris spoke out against LGBTQ rights on multiple occasions, including marriage equality and queer acceptance in the Boy Scouts of America. I want to say this, like I say whenever anybody passes, I'm so sorry for his family. I don't like to speak ill of the dead, and I think other people might know the rest of that. So I just want to say he had a nice fitness product. It was called the Bowflex. I was calling it Tybo, but that was Billy Blank's. Yeah, so he did that. I mean, I'm sure he contributed to a lot of people's fitness. Their mental well-being, probably not so much with some of his hot takes on the way that people should be living their lives, especially since he was a staunch conservative. He was against marriage equality. And I just don't know what to say other than I'm so sorry for his family. And
well, I celebrate your journey to another plane of existence. Please tell Satan hello for me.
You know, I grew up with Chuck Norris movies. Like my dad was
did too.
We both were, right? Well, so was I. My dad was really big into Kung Fu, so he would watch all these Kung Fu movies, and like then all of a sudden I'd see, you know, this white guy, and I'd be like, who's this white guy doing, you know? And so he would watch all his movies. He was such a fan, right? And then I remember during the Obama administration, he went after Obama, saying that he was too pro-gay.
Yep.
And as we know, you know, Obama came out like slowly, you know, to help us out.
Yes,
you know what I mean? So those words coming from him, and then it escalated. It just kind of got worse and worse, and he went after, you know, with the Boy Scout stuff like that. So I mean, like you said, we never celebrate someone's death.
Right.
But they called you home, I guess. I don't know, you know.
Your purpose has been served.
Hope you were received wherever you were received.
LGBTQ 1 Minute News. Let's queer up sports. Trans MMA history made as Brady and Figueroa headline first Femme World Championship fight ever. Critical Combat has announced a historic milestone in mixed martial arts with the first ever world title fight between two transgender athletes. The Femme World Championship will headline Critical Combat 4, Conquer the Gauntlet, on June 20th in Middletown, New Jersey. The bout features Summer Brady and Gita Figueroa competing as super lightweight. Both fighters enter with a tied record from prior amateur Muay Thai matchups. Fans are already calling it a landmark moment. You know, I'm super anti-MMA. I don't like any of that Street Fighter stuff. It just reminds me of all the MAGA people that love that shit. So I'm kind of like, But that being said, representation matters. And this is important because it's still two trans folks doing it, and they're the first doing it. You know what I mean? Like, for all those people that are like, oh, trans person can't fight a regular person, you know, all that kind of bullshit, right? Yeah. Here, we're giving it to you in a silver platter. You know what I mean? Two trans folks that are willing to beat the F out of each other. Enjoy. Do we play gay music now? Is it because it's two trans folks? I mean, it's still two people beating the shit out of each other. And
Yeah, I think the MMA industry, they're doing it for the math and the money. They're doing it for viewership. They're doing it for ad money. But I really, and so that's, I'm not thrilled about that, but I'm thrilled that we have two representatives that is the first in the industry, and I celebrate them, and I just wish them the best, because I guarantee you there are young people transitioning right now who are curious about their own identity, and they see something in these ladies that they recognize in themselves, and so there's an opportunity for them to rise up and do what they want to do in the world. Yep.
These are today's headlines from Queer News Tonight, and our anchors represent the best of our LGBTQ family.
If our community is important to you, share this news with your friends and family. Don't forget to join the conversation on your favorite streaming platform.
Queer News Tonight is the only LGBTQ digital television show in the world that is out of the closet and into the headlines. We need your support. If our community is to grow and to thrive, we must tell our stories. We must bring them to the attention of the broader world.
This is the only place in the world that tells these types of LGBTQ stories in motion and sound. That's the passion of Hotspots magazine, Happening Out television network, and Queer News Tonight.
Well, on behalf of everyone here at the table, me, your girl Faywhat, Jason Núñez, Kevin Lee, and Brian Bender, we will see you daily at 8 p.m. To our world out there, good night.